Hey there, fellow humans. Welcome to another deep dive into the fascinating world we live in. Let's talk about something we all know and, let's be honest, probably love a little too much: social media. It's everywhere, isn't it? From the moment we wake up to the time we go to bed, it's like a constant companion. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, it's like a digital buffet for our brains. Each platform offering a different flavor of content, catering to our every whim and interest. We scroll through feeds, double-tap pictures, and lose ourselves in endless streams of content. It's a never-ending cycle of engagement and distraction. But here's the kicker. While social media can be fun and even useful, it's also messing with our brains in ways we might not even realize. The constant notifications, the endless scrolling, it all adds up. Think about it. How many times have you picked up your phone just to check one notification and ended up sucked into a vortex of memes, news articles, and friends' vacation photos for an hour? We've all been there. It's like time just slips away. This constant bombardment of information, the need for validation through likes, and the fear of missing out, FOMO, can have some seriously negative effects on our cognitive functions and mental health. It's like our brains are on a constant roller coaster of emotions. Don't worry, this isn't going to be a social media is evil, throw your phone in the ocean kind of rant. Social media has its perks, like staying connected with loved ones and discovering new interests. But it's time we take a hard look at how these platforms are impacting our brains, and more importantly, what we can do to mitigate the negative effects. It's about finding a balance and being mindful of our usage. Because friends, we deserve better than to be mindless slaves to the algorithm. We deserve to take control of our digital lives and not let them control us. We deserve to have healthy relationships with technology and, most importantly, with ourselves. It's about making conscious choices and setting boundaries. So buckle up, because things are about to get real. We're going to explore practical tips and strategies to help you navigate the digital landscape with intention and awareness. Let's dive in and reclaim our time and mental space.
Remember the good old days when you could actually sit through a whole movie without checking your phone? Yeah, me neither. Our attention spans are shrinking faster than the Arctic ice caps, and social media is a major culprit. The constant stream of notifications, the addictive nature of scrolling, and the bite-sized format of content are specifically designed to keep us hooked. Our brains are wired to crave novelty and instant gratification, and social media platforms exploit this to the fullest. Every notification, every like, every comment triggers a little dopamine hit, keeping us coming back for more. This constant stimulation makes it harder for us to focus on tasks that require sustained attention. Remember trying to read a book or having an actual conversation? Those things seem like ancient history now. The problem is, attention is a finite resource. And when we're constantly dividing it between the real world and the digital one, something's gotta give. Here's a scary thought. Social media might actually be making us dumber. Okay, maybe not dumber in the traditional sense, but it's definitely messing with our memory. Remember that time you walked into a room and forgot why? Or when you couldn't remember where you put your keys? Yeah, blame it on the scroll. The constant influx of information from social media is overwhelming our brains. See, when we're constantly bombarded with information, our brains don't have the time or capacity to process and store it effectively. It's like trying to cram a whole library into a shoebox. Something's gotta give. This leads to what's called information overload. Information overload can impair our ability to form long-term memories and recall information when we need it. Our brains are simply not designed to handle this constant barrage of data. This leads to what's called information overload, which can impair our ability to form long-term memories and recall information when we need it. Add to that the fact that we're outsourcing our memories to Google and our phones, and it's no wonder our own brains are starting to slack off. Think about it. How often do you rely on your phone to remember phone numbers, birthdays, or even simple facts? We no longer need to remember these things because our devices do it for us. It's like if we stopped going to the gym because we hired someone to lift weights for us. Our muscles would atrophy, right? The same principle applies to our brains. Well, our brains are no different. When we stop exercising our memory and cognitive skills, they begin to weaken. Social media is not inherently bad, but we need to be mindful of how we use it. Taking breaks from social media, engaging in activities that stimulate our minds, and being present in the moment can help mitigate these effects. So next time you find yourself mindlessly scrolling, remember to give your brain a break. Engage in activities that challenge your brain, like reading, puzzles, or even learning a new skill. Your brain will thank you for it. In the end, it's all about balance. Use social media wisely and make time for activities that nourish your mind. Your cognitive health depends on it. Section 4. The Comparison Trap. Social Media and the Anxiety Epidemic. Let's talk about anxiety, baby. Or, more specifically, how social media is fueling an anxiety epidemic, one perfectly filtered photo at a time. Think about it. When you're scrolling through your feed, what do you see? Pictures of people on vacation, showing off their perfect bodies, their perfect relationships, their perfect lives. It's easy to forget that these are just carefully curated snapshots of reality, not the whole picture. But our brains don't always make that distinction. We start comparing ourselves, our lives, our accomplishments, or lack thereof, to these unrealistic standards. And guess what? We don't measure up. This constant comparison game can lead to feelings of inadequacy, low self-esteem, and yes, anxiety. We start to feel like we're not good enough, not pretty enough, not successful enough. And in a world where everyone is constantly showcasing their best selves, it's easy to feel like we're falling behind. Section 5. Depression in the digital age. The dark side of the like button. In today's hyper-connected world, the like button has become a symbol of validation and approval. But what happens when the likes don't come? Or worse, when the feedback is negative? Anxiety isn't the only mental health issue exacerbated by excessive social media use. The constant need for validation can lead to a cycle of stress and worry, as users become obsessed with their online presence and the reactions they receive. Depression rates are also on the rise, and while the reasons are complex, social media's role cannot be ignored. The pressure to present a perfect life online can be overwhelming, leading to feelings of inadequacy and sadness. The curated perfection, the FOMO, the cyberbullying, it's a recipe for disaster. When we see others living seemingly perfect lives, it can make us feel like we're missing out or not measuring up. When we're constantly bombarded with images of happiness and success, it's easy to feel like our own lives pale in comparison. This can lead to a downward spiral of negative thoughts and emotions. We start to feel isolated, alone, and disconnected, even when we're surrounded by hundreds of friends online. The illusion of connection can be just that, an illusion. The irony, of course, is that social media, a platform designed to connect us, can actually make us feel more alone than ever. The more we engage, the more we might feel disconnected from real-life interactions. And let's not forget about the good old-fashioned cyberbullying. The anonymity of the internet can bring out the worst in people, leading to hurtful comments and harassment. Social media can be a breeding ground for negativity, hate speech, and online harassment. The impact of these negative interactions can be profound, affecting one's mental health and sense of self-worth. And when you're on the receiving end of that, it can be incredibly damaging to your self-esteem and mental health. The scars left by online bullying can be deep and long-lasting, affecting one's confidence and overall well-being. It's crucial to recognize these dangers and take steps to protect our mental health in the digital age.